I was born in France. I came in UK when I was 17 years old. I met my husband and we got married, and then I had my first daughter, Ruqayya. He was born in Algeria. When he was small, he had polio. I came here to study. I had like promising life here, because the life in UK, especially when you're Muslim, is much easier than my life I had in France. I was expecting a lot of good from here. The first arrest was in December 2001. It was after Fajr. I was in the bedroom with Ruqayya sleeping, and the first thing I saw, it was one lady. She opened the door, switched on the light. I asked her if I can go to the bathroom. She searched me, and then she let me go to the bathroom, but I had to leave the door open. I didn't understand English. I didn't know what happening. All the corridor was full of people, police people outside, and he asked me to pack a bit of stuff and to go somewhere, because they need to search the house. And they check everything, even inside the nappy. Ruqayya was 2 years and 3 months at the time. When she saw her dad handcuffed and the police like this, she was traumatized. In Arabic, they have like a kids word. Didi means when you hurt, for the kids word. So she used to show me always like this and show me Abi. Abi means dad. They're hurting Abi. She was lost, she was crying, and she was very scared. She didn't want to leave me. She used to be very scared of any people with any officer. It was very hard one. I don't have any family here. He doesn't have any family here. My first reaction was I was very scared and confused. What's happening? I was lost because I didn't speak English and I barely knew anything in this country. He used to deal with everything, so I didn't have nothing. The only money left was his money in the bank. I didn't have his card or nothing. I didn't tell my family, I think how many months after, because they're not Muslim and they wasn't very happy for me to be Muslim first and get married to someone. So to put this one on top of it, it would have been just a guess. I didn't tell them after how many years. Yeah. I had few problems with some of my neighbors calling me terrorist. One of my neighbors even called the council to complain about me. Few friends stand by me, but the other one, they were very scared that because they took my ex-husband, they're going to have trouble with me if I go to their house or speak with them on the phone. So many of them, they didn't speak with me for a very long time. I was stressed as well with he wasn't here like this. I used to feel like very stressed because I start to have like panic attack. It was very hard. It was very hard, subhanallah. I was like in robot mode. You have to stand and continue living. But the thing is, I start to have after lots of panic attack and anxiety. So I went lots of time in the hospital because sometimes it was just too much. I tried to be strong for my daughter and try to do things and like this, but sometimes I think it was a bit too much for me. They bring him to Belmarsh prison the first time, but I only knew this maybe about 3 weeks or 4 weeks after. I spoke with him for maybe 2 months or something, when I knew that they could keep him indefinitely, and I don't know when it went. That was the breaking point. He was never arrested in any country about any crime, here or Algeria. It was the first time he had a case like this, and they never show him until now. We don't know the evidence or what the accusation is, nothing. The first time I was able to see my husband was 3 or 4 months after he was arrested. He was in another, it was the other side. There was a big glass. There was a man with him writing everything we were saying because we were speaking French. And I couldn't touch him, he couldn't touch me. And Ruqayya used to sit on the table and give him kiss by the glass. She was telling me why she want to go with Abi. The first time I saw him, I was emotional. It was the first time I saw him after a long time. First few months visit was very hard because we couldn't stay with him too long. I used to go there, I think it was about once every 2 weeks. The brother used to come collect me at home and bring me to Belmarsh with my daughter. Then he we went to see him. It was just, we was talking like on the phone, but the visit was shorter. And then years later, we could go and see him like in a big room. And Ruqayya, that was the first time she was able to go and sit on his lap and everything. Yeah, mashallah, yeah. She was very happy. When she saw him straight away, she went to him. She didn't even wait, subhanAllah. He was walking, she went straight away to him, subhanAllah. Yeah, she was happy, mashallah. Outside, she was very afraid, like I say, about the officer. And she didn't want to let me out of her sight. In school and like this, it was hard. I think the hardest time for her was when she used to see all the other kids with their dad and like this. And because the other kids, they never saw her dad. Even sometimes with the kids, they ask, yeah, your dad and like this. So she used to be like very sad and like this. She never used to say he's in prison. When she was in like nursery and like this, sometimes when, for example, she will draw things or like this, or she used to have draw something like this, they only be in the picture me and her. And even when we used to go and see my family, I think that was the worst, when she used to see my uncle with the kids and like this. But with them, she used to be very open. Abi is in prison like this, he's going to come out, I'm going to see everything. She was very clingy to me, very clingy to me. Yes, and if she doesn't see me in a room with her, she'll start screaming. There's no way I can't go somewhere without her. Even when I go to bath or like this, she's there with me. So it was quite hard, yes. And Ramadan was empty, subhanallah. The Eid day wasn't the same. If you could go and see him, it was nice. But if not, then it wasn't the same. Every time we had the hope, yani, maybe he's going to come, maybe he's going to come, yeah. The first few months, he was very positive. I'm not going to stay long, stay strong, and like this, it's a test. 6 months, 1 year it starts to be very bad. It didn't used to eat. And then he was, the first thing that deteriorated was his physical. Because he was staying in the cell 23 hours, so he couldn't walk anymore, so he had to use the wheelchair. Until now, it can't walk because of this. Before, when I met him, he was walking on crutches, and because he stayed it was a small cell. It was a small cell. He said even the sky, you don't see it, and you don't see the green of the grass. It does affect you, so he was very affected. And then he started to be very depressed. That's why they let him go. I think he was after 5 years. He was the first one to go on into house arrest. He was depressive, suicidal, and physically he changed completely. I think by 3 years or 4 years he started attempting to kill himself. He used to harm himself. Sometimes, for example, if we miss a day, we can't come and visit him because okay, she wasn't well or like this, it'll be even worse. I felt very helpless. And I couldn't do anything, even to cheer him and like this, it was very hard. He was the first one to be released under house arrest because his situation, his mental health and physical health deteriorated. He was in a wheelchair when he came back, and they let him come back. He was in very strict house arrest. No one could come in the house. Even doctor, we wasn't allowed to have any phone, a visit, and no one talking to him. He wasn't allowed to speak with anyone as well. The prison wasn't the hardest place. I thought it was going to be the hardest, but it wasn't. When they let him out in house arrest, and he wasn't allowed at all to go out like this, it was even worse. This completely killed him. He wasn't allowed to have to speak with anyone in the house except us. Doctor not allowed, no phone, no internet, no mobile. The first time he was on tag, he stayed like this for 7 months, and he wasn't allowed to go out at all. He used to call the tag company every 3-4 hours, 5 times a day. The Home Office was allowed to come anytime wanted. They checked the thing, 1 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock in the, anytime we used to come. I wasn't allowed any people, no family, no, and even doctor if something happened, even if we die at home, no ambulance, they're not allowed to come in the house. Even the solicitor need to be clear to come. If I open the door, the neighbor say hi to him and he reply, he go back to prison. If he doesn't call on the phone, he go back to prison. He can't put 1 foot outside the garden. He wasn't allowed any minute outside. If he does this, he goes to prison. My kids, for them, I think it was like normal. They know if someone comes, they can't come in the... So if my friend used to come, I used to give them a chair on the doorway, cake and like this, and I stay with them and communicate like this. For Ruqayya as well, she didn't used to understand why he couldn't go out and like this, and he had the tag. They used to put a watch on their feet and they say we have the Ben 10 watch like Abby on his feet, the tag. Nearly 10 years with the tag. The house was very small as well, so his situation become even worse. Sometimes he even wish he went back because he said even there I could go at least 1 hour outside. Financially it was very hard, subhanAllah. He wasn't allowed to work and I couldn't leave him in the house because he's not capable to stay alone by himself. So I had to look after him even because he's disabled. I used to do everything for him. So it was very hard. There was one time there was no heater wasn't working. We couldn't get it fixed. The washing machine, we had the problem. We couldn't get it fixed. And if you go and ask for the Home Office, they'll ask you, for the people to be clear, they need to have a passport picture, the details and everything. No one wants to give this. And him deteriorate, being very low every time and getting worse because I can understand for a man to stay 24 hours in the house, you're helpless. You can't work, you can't do nothing. It's worse than, and you can't even speak with people outside, it kills you. I was pregnant 3 times there because the baby didn't grow properly. So 5 months when I went for the scan, there was no heartbeat. With the first time the baby died, I went myself come back home, he couldn't do nothing. And I had this second time as well, and the third time my ex-husband wasn't allowed to come to delivery. So we had to go court and ask to have time for him to come with me if I need to deliver. And the solicitor was asking for an open date, like if I have any contraction, just to go. And the judge didn't want. They wanted just him to be cleared on the day of the due date. They gave the clearance on the 7th of July. The next 8th July I deliver. And even on the day of delivery, when he was with me, they called, Home Office called the solicitor saying that he's in breach because he's there. When the 7/7 happened, we was with the solicitor this day at home, so Hannah, and we was watching, and I told her, will this happen? Will this affect his situation like this? And she was telling me, no, it can't because he's in the house, he's tagged and everything. This has nothing to do with him. 12th of August, I think, they came. They ring in the morning, they came. They said they want to take him. I said no. So start arguing with them. Why does he have, he doesn't have anything to do. I was very upset this day. I argue a lot with, it was very hard. So it was very hard. I just cried. I cried. The first time I didn't cry, but this time I did. Even Trokesh, everyone was crying. She was holding him. He was okay. He didn't want to go. They put him in his wheelchair. He stayed in long-lasting for 3, maximum 4 months. They face deportation this time. They wanted to deport them back to the original country. Now, if he go back to Algeria, he's going to be tortured because of this. It was still going on until maybe 2015. Dealing with his emotion and how he was, I think it was the hardest. I saw him only once when he was in, because it was very far, and his situation was very bad. He was in the hospital inside there, And when he tried to keep hang himself like this, they kept him separate. He was very scared. He was very scared. He was scared for him. He was scared for his family, because since this happened, they went and visit his family even there. Sometimes because things was too much for him, he would come and say it's better if he earned his life, he's not going to make his family suffer here or back home and like this. It was very hard. And the thought of going back there, because there they can take people, you disappear, no one knows where you are. So yeah, it was very hard. And they just came one day. We thought they came to check the tag and everything. They come, they took the box, they took his tag, they say you're free. I was upset because they just came like this, like nothing ever happened like this. But at the same time, I was happy, but I was just upset because how many years they make us suffer like this, like nothing happened. We take our stuff, have a good day, and then they go. We was very relieved, mashallah, very relieved. Yeah, it was a big victory, subhanallah. My most fear every time was that until now, that they can come and take him. We had problem like when I go and I travel, every time they stop us, until now. And we had even a problem where they start to stop even my daughter, because she's 19 and a half now. I changed, and he changed because of all the suffering he had in prison like this. He was never the same. Mentally, he was never the same. Physically, of course, he was not the same. Mentally was the worst. He was seeing things, talk to himself. We're not together anymore. It's been now nearly 3 years now. It did affect us. And it did have a lot of impact. Since he came to prison and then came back, it wasn't the same at all. There was one lady, and she told me there's a group of people, their name is HHUGS. The first help they done was for me and Rokhaya. The sister took us like family. They used to come everything I need for Rokhaya, school, anything, like the smallest thing to the biggest thing. Even when I went to hospital to deliver Ismail, or if we needed food at home when I was in hospital, they used to go and drop food by the door. And they used to come and visit me. They used to even invite me to their house. The way the sister, they take care of us, subhanallah, the love they give you, and all the effort they put and everything. I never saw this. The meaning of Ummah is hard for me. They give us hope that the Ummah is still alive. Even if we could, just a call to check if we okay like this, wallah, is a big thing. After how many years and be consistent like this, you don't find it. You find it's very rare, subhanAllah. They give not 100%, 200%. We was help with food, clothes, voucher to pay for like electricity, gas, and it was help as well with like the sport, any sport activity for my kids. Karate, my son, mashallah. He became European champion and world champion, mashallah, karate. The winter support, and it came, subhanAllah, the best time because I struggled more than before. So when this one came, it covered all the cost for all the winter, subhanAllah, and even for the kids' clothes and like this. So it came, subhanAllah, at the right time. SubhanAllah, they were a big help. I didn't have the money to pay for. It was 1 month's rent and 1 month's deposit. I think the kids, they always, even me, I always wait for this kind of, it give us, because they have like small book, Ramadan book for kids and small gift for each other and like this. They always look forward to it, subhanAllah. And the voucher they give as well to pay for the Eid gift, it always come at a time because Eid time that's the only time the kids they wait for to have like a big thing. So it helps us a lot, subhanAllah. When the Qurbani come, we'll have the meat as well. And even on Eid, they have after the party. We all go and meet sister. Well, they treat you like real sisters, subhanAllah. Some brother miskin, they'll give up after they go masjid. They'll bring us to the prison, subhanAllah, to go and stay with him. May Allah reward them, I mean, subhanAllah. I think if it wasn't for HUGS, I don't know how it would have been. I would not be here if it wasn't for HUGS. Yeah, that's what I know. They give you hope. They never give up on you. That's Allah, alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. Shukra lillah, wallah. The only thing I can say to HUGS is Jazakallah alf khair. I wish I could do more for them. Only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can fully reward them for everything they've done.